My favorite fact about Call of the Night is that it was a song first and then a manga. A lot of shows name their theme song after the anime, but when manga artist Kotoyama heard Call of the Night, he loved it so much that he asked the band if he could name his new manga after the song. They agreed, and when the anime came out, not only did they do the music for the show, but they even make an appearance in episode 6 as a couple of guys who hit on Nazuna, the show's super fit vampire leading lady. I think this is fitting because it was the music that really pulled me into the show and made me feel like I was watching something special. It's also definitely going to put some people off. I'll explain why so you can decide for yourself if it's for you. But if it is for you, and especially if you're a night owl, then Call of the Night is the best vampire anime rom-com of the year. Let's check it out. Call of the Night is about a middle school boy named Ko Yamori, whose insomnia has driven him out into the night, where he meets a cool and self-assured vampire girl named Nazuna. Ko wants Nazuna to turn him into a vampire, and Nazuna wants to keep sucking his blood, so they form a relationship of convenience and explore the city at night together. They are also both a couple of social outcasts who can find it difficult or awkward to relate to others, so their time together helps both of them connect with someone in ways that they might not have been able to do otherwise. I like that both of them were a bit awkward and it wasn't just Nazuna with all the answers teaching Ko how to grow up. A few people from Ko's past also venture out into the night, and he finds that he might have had more friends than he realized. When we meet some of Nazuna's vampire colleagues, okay, I put vampire colleagues in the script here and it sounded terrible. The best word is vampire comrades, but it makes him sound communist, and we already have a vampire cosmonaut show. They meet a bunch of vampires, okay? And they all know Nazuna. Things get more lively when the other vampires show up, and there are a few other people Ko's gonna meet, but I won't spoil anymore. Call of the Night crackles with energy and style. Those purple nighttime backgrounds are beautiful, and the show's impressively drawn and animated. The show can jump in an instant from Ko's super stylized broomstick legs to Nazuna's textbook level of detail in her muscle and bone structure without ever feeling out of place. The manga was created by the same guy who did Dagashi Kashi, if you know that one, so if you think Vampire Hotaru, you'll know the style of the character art. The later episodes can slow down a bit, but honestly, it's good to have some downtime to let you catch your breath and give the show some variety in its tone. To use examples from the show's soundtrack, sometimes you need the slower pace of Lost Time sandwiched in between the manic energy of the opener and the sonic explosion of the ending. I remember seeing the opening sequence for the first time and thinking, I can't remember the last time I saw an OP that I instantly loved this much. It's been at least 5 years. Everything on screen just snaps right into place with the beat of the music and those peppy vocals from Creepy Nuts. Yeah, that's the band's name. It would not have been my first choice, honestly, but their OP is great. And when the ED hits, it's even better. I will say that I thought the best use of the ED was in that first episode accompanying the ending scene, and I wasn't as impressed with the closing montage in the rest of the episodes, but I did like some of Nazuna's poses and all those bubbles. Although, please tell me that that's just bright green Gatorade or something. That is not my favorite visual. The two theme songs created this looping effect where I get hyped for another episode after the closing song and want to hear the opener again, so I'd start up the next episode and binge a few more than I was planning to. Now, I do think that the OP and the ED are the best parts of Call of the Night, and it's tempting to view some of the episodes like a delicious donut, where you've got good stuff at the beginning and the end, but a hole in the middle where the episode goes. If I'm being honest, some of the episodes felt a bit this way, not because the whole episode was a waste, but because the middle parts were much more slow-paced and contemplative, and the action happened at the beginning and the end, bookended by those fantastic theme songs. But I think that fits the nighttime theme as well. Sometimes the night is more about long stretches where everything is quiet, as opposed to a non-stop party scene. But expect a few parts to slow down pretty significantly if you watch the whole show. The other main draw of this anime is that it just gets nighttime. It's very much night in an urban setting. The city at night never gets totally dark, it just gets darker. It's a change in color palette from bright greens and yellows and reds to more subdued purples, blacks, and blues. Call of the Night takes place in an infinite suburban sprawl. It feels like no matter how far Ko runs, he's never going to run out of city. This is important because the city at night doesn't just look a little different, the city feels very different when there are just one or two people in these places where normally you might have a few dozen. As an introvert and a night owl, I'm drawn to those moments where a town or a familiar building can take on a completely different personality at night. It's almost as if the city gets to try on a change of clothes for a while, and I think Call of the Night really nails that vibe. Also, when you do come across another person at night, those interactions can feel more emphasized or more authentic because it feels like you're the only people in the world. Call of the Night seems like a series of personal interactions at times. Ko's usually talking to just one or two people at a time, so even though there may be a dozen or so characters with significant speaking roles, the show usually feels pretty intimate. There's definitely some wish fulfillment going on here. We get to follow along with Ko as he meets hot girl after hot girl who are all interested in him in some way and who give this 14-year-old boy their undivided attention. Seems pretty clear who the targeted audience was for this one. But the appeal of the show goes beyond just wish fulfillment, and the audience includes anyone who enjoys the night and gets a thrill from watching people and places take on a new identity, all from just a change in the clock face and a splash of moonlight. If you're going to skip out on the show, it's probably for one big reason. Ko is 14. Nazuna is at least several decades old, and she's drinking openly in Japan, which means she looks at least like a convincing 20-year-old to the people in the show. Some of the older female characters also tease Ko in a romantic way, which can definitely feel creepy. But there are multiple instances where adult or adult-ish characters seem to be taking advantage of someone who's going to continue to be a minor for a few years. And if that's a deal breaker, I get it. I would have been much more comfortable if some of the characters were older, and there's no real reason why they shouldn't have been. You kind of have to suspend your disbelief with this one. Other reasons people are giving for not liking this show include its heavy emphasis on fan service, being annoyed by one or more of the characters' personalities, or not being attracted to Nazuna, and those are all legitimate reasons. But if you've heard this much and you're still even a bit curious about the show, I encourage you to check it out. This isn't one of those anime where it takes 6 or 7 episodes to hit its stride. You'll know after the first episode if this one's for you or not. The English dub of Call of the Night is a solid option if you don't want to watch it subtitled. Really, the only character they had to get right was Nazuna. I first checked out the dub because I was impressed by how Sora Amamiya could instantly create layers of personality with just her voice, and I thought there's no way the American voice actor will be able to match that style. But it turns out Natalie Real was able to match it. I was really surprised. I do think Amamiya's performance is a bit more nuanced, so I prefer the sub, but if you're dub only, you got no worries. Some shows try to be sexy or stylish and completely flop, but Call of the Night nails that vibe and gives us the vampire goodness we've been waiting for. The story is nothing groundbreaking, and it can be a bit slow at times, but the music and visuals take what might have been a 7 for me up to an 8. Fellow Night Owls should definitely check this one out. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.